Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another version of Om Times Institute, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays here with Marc. So give it just a quick second. Running a little bit late this morning, having some tech problems, but we're getting up and running here. How's your morning going? Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you've joined me here on the Om Times Institute page. Working on my camera angles here too. I'm trying to do some different backdrops, so I do apologize. So you guys can get the real essence of the mountains and working with me. So this morning I'm going to be talking about a few different things. Give you your totem animal spirit. Going to be also talking about the numerology number for the week. So just give it one brief second. While we're doing that, grab your cup of coffee. Grab your cup of tea. I've got my Garth Brooks World Tour cup that I went to this weekend. Going to go ahead and just shut the comments off for right now. I'll get back to your comments after the live video stream is over. If you want to subscribe to what we're doing here on Om Times Institute, just hit the subscribe button down below and you can get the live feed. I'm going to be on the Om Times Institute page today, but hopefully maybe next week I might be on the Om Times Magazine page, so we'll have to wait and see. But if you guys want to join me every Monday morning, I try to be here live on Facebook through the Om Times Institute or Om Times Magazine page to help you, get you inspired for the week, to get you on your spiritual path, to give you some spiritual guidance, some spiritual information. So So let me know where you're from. Let me know if you've joined Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Marc before. And like I said, I'm trying to do the backdrop a little bit different here. So my camera angle is a little bit different today. So just kind of getting used to that. But today we're going to be talking about something that came up for me in my meditation. And I thought it would be good, given that, even just last night there was a shooting in Texas where, a lot of innocent life was lost. In a church, of all things. And so this morning I wanted to talk about ego love versus soul love, or ego versus the soul, and where people can come from a place of ego, or people can come from a place of working with their soul. And so I want to share that with you for the next 25 minutes or so. I'm also going to give you the crystal of the week, going to give you the spirit animal of the week, and I'm also going to give you the number of the week. So let me just get a cup of coffee myself. As you can see, I'm a little bit behind myself. I'm an hour behind. I am not a fan of daylight savings times, to be honest with you guys. And any time that we fall back or spring ahead, just not a big fan. I just wish we would just stay, keep time the same, because it throws me off for a couple days, and just coming off a full moon cycle. So hope that you had a wonderful Halloween, if you celebrate Halloween. I had a wonderful weekend. Went to Garth Brooks, one of my favorite singers of all time. I'll be playing a little bit of his music over on the Q&A after show, which is over on the Intuitive Prospector page. That's my business page, where it's Q&A with me, where I can have a direct conversation with you. You can ask me questions. We can have a spiritual conversation. Going to play a little bit of Garth Brooks music, because he's, like I said, he's one of the greatest musicians and entertainers of my generation. And I say my generation because every generation has, their greatest singers, whether, it was the Beatles or Elvis Presley or Johnny Cash. Every generation has just their singers that are just very epic and very iconic. And for me, it's Garth Brooks. He was, a lot of his music was through many years of my life, very influential, and just a staple of, helping me get through some tough times. So went to his concert, was 11 rows back on the floor. My wife surprised me, and so amazing seats. He was right there, and so I was just like a little kid in a candy store, and just had a really good time. And of course, with Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, you got to have your coffee, you got to have your tea, and so I've got my official Garth Brooks World Tour coffee mug for this morning. But I wanted to talk about not only today's topic about ego versus soul, or ego love versus soul love. I want to let you know that I'm getting ready to do another course for the Om Times Institute. It's going to be called Touching the Spirit World, and I'm going to work with people on how to touch the spirit world, because a lot of times we think that the spirit world is in a far away place, when really it's right here. It's part of the physical world. We are just so busy and distracted that we don't pick up on the spiritual world. So I'm going to be doing a class at the end of this month. I'm working on it right now. It's going to be called Touch the Spirit World. There's going to be a little bit of cost to it, not much, between $10 and $15. It's going to be through the Om Times Institute Learn It Live platform. I'm hoping to roll that out by the end of the month, and then also I'm going to do another class in December. But if you want to check out the work that I'm doing through Om Times Institute, Om Times Magazine, Om Times platform, Learn It Live, click on the link that's in the description field down below, and that'll take you over to my library. I've got about 15 classes. That's also where my spiritual development group is online. It's a closed group. So if you ever want to visit and see if you vibe with your tribe and do spiritual development, just send me an email or Facebook Messenger so you can get that visitor's pass to see what that's all about. But you can check out all my classes. Some are free, some cost. And of course, every Wisdom Wednesday, you can catch me over on Inspired Living Radio, which is Om Times Radio. It's our internet show. And we have a lot of fun and amazing guests, amazing topics. And that's every Wisdom Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. That is Om Times Radio. You can listen to our show from anywhere in the world. We have a global audience of inspired listeners that we love. And you don't need a password. You don't need any kind of application or username to sign in. And you just go to Om Times Radio, look for Inspired Living with Marc and Kim, and you can listen to all of our shows. You can call in. You can post questions on our closed Facebook page, which is Inspired Living Radio on Facebook. We're also on Google, Twitter, and Instagram under Inspired For Us. So I hope that you'll join us on that journey every Wisdom Wednesday. And then, of course, here, Monday mornings, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Marc to help you on your spiritual path, on your spiritual journey, get you where you need to go for the week. So I'm going to just adjust my camera one more time because I've got a new tripod that I'm working on, and it keeps kind of moving on me. So let me know where you're from. Let me know if you've joined me before. If you're a spiritual prospector coming back to journey for your own spiritual goal, thanks so much for coming back. Love all the spiritual prospectors that join me every week. If you're new, let me know that you're new and where you're joining me from the world. Go ahead and put your location. I'm not checking the comments right now because I want to get to the topic about ego love versus soul love, and what the ego looks like compared to what the soul looks like. Because right now we're seeing a lot of ego stuff out in the world, whether it's government, whether it's religion, whether it's just people just doing just crazy stuff. Like last night, just one shooter, just taking innocent life in a church, and I just want to send my thoughts and prayers to all of those families that are impacted for what happened down in Texas. It's just Vegas and Texas and New York, and just seeing a lot of that, guys. And so we want to come to a place of community, of love and light, and try to find the good in the day, because there is a lot of good in this world. I know that it's easy to get caught up in the negative and the misery of the world based on media and what you see, but there's also a lot of good in the world, and we want to be a part of that journey. I want to be a part of that journey. I've been impacted, myself, with a lot of negativity in the world, murder, cancer, multiple sclerosis, my own near-death experience, and there's just a lot to be thankful for today, and have that attitude for gratitude. So today I'm just going to kind of, on a whim, I'm going to just kind of trust my intuition. I was supposed to talk about the ego versus the soul journey, and what ego love looks like and what soul love looks like. And I'm just going to pull a card for today from the numerology standpoint. And the card that I pulled for this morning, and I'm doing this at random. I know it's backwards on the video camera, but it's a 33, which is a master number in numerology, and it's also the message is about communication. So when I get that card and I see the number 33, which is that cosmic parent, that bigger consciousness, it's right in line about what I'm talking about, ego love versus soul love. The ego love tends to be of the mind, the stability of what your life is, the knowing and being in control of something. That's where ego love comes from. A little bit of reacting to your scenarios, your environment versus being an observer. That's a place of ego. And the soul love is a place of where the heart is coming from. You're experiencing things. That's the soul love. Creativity is a big part. And communication, when I pull this communication card from a numerology standpoint, that tells me that communications need to take place, and not to let everything bottle up inside you, but also be a creative communicator, be a communicator that comes from a place of, you can't see my heart, but comes from a place of the heart, not of the mind. Does your communications divide, or does your communications build? Does your communications inspire, or does your communications tire? So communication from a numerology standpoint is what's coming up for today's Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, and your inspiration for today. And the spirit totem animal that came to me during my meditations this morning was the bear. So I'm going to give you the message for the bear. So pay attention to the bear. And the reason I think the bear came up for me, one, it's November and it's cold. It was snowing here in Seattle. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, and it was snowing and raining, and just a typical, what I thought was going to be a fall day, but it actually turned into a winter day. And so the bear was coming up in my meditations. And so when the bear shows up for you this week as a spirit totem animal, whether you hear the word bear, whether you see the word bear, or you actually see a bear, you could be up in Alaska where bears are as common as dogs, so I've heard. I've never been there yet. I hope to get there on my bucket list. But if the bear shows up for you this week, what the bear is saying, it's to set clear boundaries, and it's also don't compromise even if pressured. So the bear totem animal comes up for you, set clear boundaries, don't compromise where you feel into where you need to be, and even if you're pressured, ask for what you want, whether or not you feel you're going to get it. And again, that comes into the communication card that I just pulled, which is also the gold color, which is about spiritual gold. You want to find what you're looking for. You got to be a spiritual prospector, and you got to get out there. You got to ask for it. You got to explore for it. You got to search for it. You got to work for it, and then eventually find it. My grandma always told me a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And there's a lot of truth in that. So think about the kind of communications you want to have this week. Let the communications be of a place from the heart, not necessarily the mind, because again, the mind is part of that ego love, and it wants to be right, it wants to be opinionated, it wants to judge, it just has a lot of different places that you can go on the ego love, versus if you approach something in this week from a place of soul love and try to communicate from the heart. The soul love also has a lot of discernment, a lot of openness, humbleness, responsiveness. I was even talking to one of my mentors who I mentor with, and she'd asked me why I wanted to learn from her, and I told her that I've learned that being humble in this approach, if I get to a place where there's a lot of ego in what I'm doing, I know that there's going to be a stumble, there's going to be a fall. And so my mantra is to be humble or get humbled. And if I can be ahead of that being humbled aspect, again, coming from a place of soul love versus ego love, then it kind of makes my path a little bit more smoother for me, a little bit more clear, and not as frustrating. So again, the bear is your totem animal for the week. Pay attention to the number 33, so that's a master number in numerology, and it's also about communications. Today's topic is ego love versus soul love, and I'll get into a few more things that you can have based on defining between what an ego love is, where that energy takes you, and where the soul love is, and where that soul love energy can take you as well. So, give me one sec here. If you guys could be so kind to share this page out with your networks, that would be awesome. Just for the fact that we're trying to grow this grassroots community to inspire people to come together in a time that it just seems very chaotic, very stressful, lots of violence, and we want to grow this community so we can inspire people, heal people, transform people. That's where we want to go. And so if you guys could share out with your pages that you belong to, your groups, I would really appreciate it, and it would help us to spread this vibration, spread this energy, this healing of what we're doing here on the Om Times Institute page, and like I said, maybe next week on the Om Times Magazine page. So we'll have to wait and see. Your crystal for today, it's called Howlite, and I'll put pictures after I'm done. I'll come back, I'll answer your questions, but if you want to have a direct conversation with me, please head over to the Intuitive Prospector page, which is my business page for Q&A with me. You can we'll continue the conversation on. I'll paste the link in right now here for you, and it's going to be in the comment section. Let's see here if it'll paste for me. There we go. And if you want to click on that link, the Intuitive Prospector, it's a Q&A after show. Last week we actually got trolled, which I had to laugh at. I was able to block everybody, but it was funny because they like to use code words like "I'm selling a couch on Craigslist." So all these people came in, so I had to block a whole bunch of people. But sometimes you just gotta laugh at that. You can't let it upset you when you get trolled. But come join me for some Q&A after this show is over here on the Om Times Institute page. And then today is Howlite. And the reason that I came up with Howlite for the crystal of the week to help you, the colors are a couple different colors. It's green, white, blue, and it's often artificially colored. But it's got a marbled stone appearance to it, and it comes in all sizes. It's easily obtained. It's spelled Howlite, Howlite. The source comes from the United States, and what the attributes that I like about this stone, and the reason that I'm talking about it this morning, is it's an extremely calming stone. So during my meditations, I just felt like there's just this big ripple effect going through of people. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, a lot of stress, the violence that's taken place. And so we want to get to places that can calm us, and meditation can do that for one. So I highly recommend doing meditation. I do meditation every morning. Qigong, which is movement of energy of my body, because I'm not just a physical being here. I'm a spiritual, energetic being having a physical experience. And when you start to look at yourself as being a physical, emotional, a mental, and a spiritual being, you realize that there are different areas of your body that you need to focus in on, whether it's mental, emotional, your physical. You might have physical conditions. You might, spiritually, you might not be spiritually connected at all, and that's fine. Maybe you want to be spiritually connected. Maybe you don't want to be spiritually connected. It's all your free will and choice and personal responsibility for one day at a time. So the Howlite, it's an extremely calming stone, and if you place it under your pillow, it's an excellent antidote to insomnia, especially when this is caused by an overactive mind. So if you've never worked with crystals, I myself was once a critic back in the day until a colleague of mine had me meditate and work with crystals, changed my life. I'm a complete believer in crystals. Got crystals right up here that I just had cleansed from the full moon cycle. You can always get your crystals, energized and cleansed by putting them under a full moon. But the Howlite can help with your insomnia. It can help with calming. So if you place it under your pillow or set it next to your bedstand, it just helps with the energy of your emotional mind or your mental mind. And it's just a calming stone. And it's called Howlite. And I'll spell that for you again. Howlite. Or if the spiritual community that's watching along with me, if you guys want to, put in the comment sections, I'm okay with that. Put in the comment sections, a picture of Howlite. A lot of times I do the work. After the fact, I go back and I put pictures of, the stones and the spirit animals. And if you guys want to, get involved in this show today, I'm all for it. So put in a picture of a bear. And the bear is to represent setting clear boundaries and your expectations and asking for what you want. Put in a picture of the number 33, which is a master number in numerology, which is about the cosmic parent, which is about higher consciousness evolution. A lot of times when I see the 33, that tells me that it's time to get a little bit of education so I can have a little bit of knowledge. Knowledge leads us to wisdom. Wisdom leads us to enlightenment. And if you guys want to put in Howlite, it's Howlite. If you want to put a picture of Howlite, put that in the comments section, because I have the comments turned off right now, guys, because there's so many comments that stream in that I couldn't get to the topic of the show. And today's topic is ego love versus soul love. But I like to give you spiritual inspirations throughout the week to pay attention. If you look for the bear, setting boundaries, if you look for number 33 in communications, if you look for the howlite stone about calming the mind, calming the emotions, those are just 3 different things that you can use. On my Q&A after show, I'm going to be using a little bit of Garth Brooks music. I think music is a way to bring us together, to inspire us, to heal us. Movies, all the above. So let me get back just to talking about the ego love versus the soul love, because I think today was important to talk about where the ego can come from versus where the soul can come from. So again, the ego tends to be associated with stability of the mind, a sense of knowing something, again, wanting to be right or to prove something. That's where religion can get real sticky, or politics. You know, if you're on one side, you think your side is right, and if you think you're on the other side, you think your side is right, and it creates chaos, because you're trying to prove, and there's really nothing to prove. I always say, be the observer, don't react, observe your surroundings, and don't try to prove something. If you find yourself trying to prove something to someone versus just being content in the present moment of your life, you're in a place of ego, and you have to have ego to survive in this world. I'm not saying that, but just if you can start to observe how you react in your communications and your responses and your opinions, is it coming from a place of ego love, or is it coming from a place of soul love? The ego tends to be any kind of reactive type of energy, condemnation, withholding, separation, dividing, criticism, past, future, goal orientation. That tends to be of an ego love. And it's okay to have a past and a future goal orientation, but don't find yourself living in the past and carrying your past as a life sentence, and don't find yourself being in the future hoping to achieve things that might not ever even happen, but you can still set goals to get to those. You got to plant seeds today so those seeds grow into what you want your future to look like for tomorrow. And I always teach that through my own spiritual classes, my own spiritual journey. I always say that there's magic in the moment. Resentment, that tends to be of the ego love as well. Any kind of blame, resentment, judgment, opinion, that comes from a place of ego. Controlling, hurtful, even competitiveness. I think competitiveness is good, but if you're doing it to be the best person you can be, because the only person you should ever be in competition with is yourself. How can you be better today than you were yesterday, and how can you be better tomorrow than you are today? So, competition is good. I'm a big sports guy. I play hoops. I get into the whole competitive thing, but I also try to play sports from a place of just exercise, not for the fact I'm not going to win anything. I'm not going to win a ring and be an NBA superstar. It's just being around other energy and people, and also a way of getting exercise. So competitive playing games and playing games with people, or avoidance or hiding things, or me, mine. I always think of the birds from Finding Nemo, the seagulls that would say mine. That comes from a place of ego, and we have a lot of ego out in the world. Like I said, with our political leaders, our religious leaders. If it falls into the category of what I just said, of that list of things that I gave about criticism and just you have to do this way, pay attention to that, because that's coming from a place of ego. Now, if it comes from a place of the soul, you can tell by people. You can tell by their journey, their backstory. Garth, just even going to the concert for Garth Brooks, he's so humble. I know behind the scenes there's a little bit ego. You have to be a musician and to reach that type of stage. But at the same time, he is always going to the fans. He's pointing out to people way back in the way up in the high nosebleed sections, if you will. And he's just a very humble guy. He's got a good energy about him. And that's just one person that comes to mind. He's an inspirer. He inspires people, and he brings people together through his music. There are a lot of people around the world that do that on a daily basis. So pay attention to that. The people within your own circle that do that, because they come from a place of heart. They come from a place of experiencing and contributing, and they're responsive, and they want to have abundance for you and your family and your health. They have a lot of openness. They're very humble. I myself try to be very open. I try to be humble. Like I said, my mantra is to be humble or get humble. They have unity about them. They want to bring people together. That's why I do Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Not so I can be on the air talking to you guys. It's so I can bring people together and raise this community so we can have a place where you can go. Even if the outside world is full of chaos and crap, there's a place every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern that you can come and vibe with your tribe and have an uplifting conversation and maybe get a little spiritual healing, maybe get a little spiritual guidance, maybe get a little spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual goal. That's why I did this, because I am an inspirer. That's actually my profile. My Myers-Briggs profile is to go out and to be an inspirer. So if you come from a place of gratitude, of just being in the present moment, present orientation of your life, healing, cooperative, win-win integrity. If I win, you win. Help me, help you. They engage people that engage you, people that seek you out. I'm gonna give a shout out to some of the people that I work with. April, who's watching, who has helped me out and sought me out. It's those type of people that it comes from a place of soul love versus ego love. If you see people that are about me, trust me, believe me, be mindful of that. But if you have somebody that says, trust us, believe us, we mentality, that's a place of soul love. That's a place that you want to be. Again, gratitude, being, contribution, experiencing creativity, forgiveness, people that can be of forgiveness in their path. Those are all very important aspects of the soul love versus the ego love. And you're going to have both. You're going to have ego all around you. I promise you. That's just part of our world. But you can also choose. You have a choice. Your free will and personal responsibility to choose what you want. Do you want ego love? Do you want soul love? Research it. Go on your own path. Research it. You have the internet. You have books. You have people that you can talk to. Go check it out. See if you're coming from a place of ego or see if you're coming from a place of soul. I try to choose the soul love. I do get caught up in the ego love from time to time, but if you're mindful of it, mindfulness is the start of your journey of being a spiritual prospector, finding your own spiritual gold and how to live a more healthier, peaceful, less stressed life in your journey while you're here. Again, you're a physical being, but you're a spiritual, energetic being first, having a physical experience. So what can you do to make the day the best day possible? So I'm going to head over to my Intuitive Prospector page. The link is in the comments section, or just look for the Intuitive Prospector. If you want to check out the work I'm doing, you can go to marclanehart.com. You can subscribe to my YouTube library where all my radio shows and all the Metaphysical Mocha Mondays are stored. And you can also, I'm going to post my latest article, the ABCs of Spiritual Self-Awareness that just came out. And you can also get in my newsletter, Soul Adventures. Check me out every Wisdom Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living Radio with Marc and Kim. It's our internet radio show where we have a lot of great shows. And we're going to be recapping in the month of December with our favorite shows from this last year as we prepare for the 2018 season. Pay attention to the bear. Set clear boundaries for what you want. Ask for what you want. Good, clear communications. Number 33 is your numerology number. And then how light is your stone for the week. So thanks for joining me here. Like I said, next week we might be in a different location. I'll let you know. If not, I'll be right here at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for Metaphysical Mocha, Mondays with Marc here on Ohm Times. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, even with the time change and the falling back. Until then, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Namaste.